Yeah, it's a little better now. Yeah, man. Another day on planet Earth. I mean, the days are moving so fast. What's going on? Is it just me? I mean, how do you
Nah,
guys feel? How do you guys feel about this? It's like it's ridiculous, man. Like, it feels like a few days ago was New Year's. I feel like I still have the residue of the last New Year with me, but it's almost another New Year. So
right.
it's crazy. I don't know what's going on. Maybe it's just the age. Maybe I'm getting old, man, and this is what comes with getting old. Time flies. So it is what it is. It is what it is. What else can we do about it?
I think we talked about that in the last space too. Remember, I was saying like time for me, I don't know what it is, but the older I get, the more and more time is it has no mercy on us, man.
Nah, not at all.
Just just about a half an hour, I was eating breakfast. I'm thinking to myself, okay, I have a half an hour to eat breakfast before I get in the space. And as I went to sit down to relax a little bit, and I looked up, it was already 10:50. I'm like, wait, what? What just happened? Like within a snap of a finger, it was ready to go. Just something simple like that.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. I mean, even now it's 4 o'clock. I mean, over here it's 4 o'clock, so the day is pretty much almost over. You know, and fuck it, man. I want time to pause a bit, man. I think that's one of the superpowers I would definitely sign up for. There's a few superpowers out there I think I will be interested in. But I think time is one of the ones that, yeah, I think, yeah, I'll definitely sign up for that, man. Maybe flying as well. I think I wouldn't mind flying around. Um,
So when you say time, what do you mean? Like the ability to stop time, or the
so,
ability to time travel?
no, I wouldn't necessarily want to time travel because I feel like that one comes with there's never really a satisfaction. I mean, from what we know so far in terms of what we watch and the type of media that's been out there in regards to time traveling, the sci-fi movies, it's never really been positive. It's like, there's always a yin to the yang. Like you can't really go back and, get things done successfully without paying the price. And I'm not really sure I want to pay any price, to be fair. I really want to get away with everything. So it's just one of those things where, like, I wouldn't want to try and time travel, but I would want to be able to slow time down to some degree. Just manage it to some degree. Not necessarily change anything, but slow it down a bit. So I can get the shit that I want done, kind of vibe.
Gotcha, gotcha.
Yeah. So
Makes sense. Makes sense.
yeah, that's just one of those. That's just one of those things, man. But it is what it is. At the end of the day, it is what it is, man. What would you what would you what kind of superpowers would you guys want to go for? What would you want to go for, Cole? What is it?
Me, all right. So if I can, if I can have any type of superpower, right? I think flights. Well, let me ask if I can have any one superpower, right? If anything, it'll probably be flight because it would feel nice just to get up and go somewhere wherever you want, right? If I feel like going back to Jamaica right now, I would literally just get up. I'll say, kids, I'll be back in a week. I don't have to book no plane ticket. I don't need to show my passport to anyone. I could just jump up in the air and just go to Jamaica real quick, right?
Yeah.
So I think flight would be dope because I can come over to London and kick it with you. I can go to California and go chill with my cousins, right? It'll be nice to just have that mobility. So I think flight would probably be on the top of my list. After that, maybe maybe time travel, I would say. And I would say that because the older I get, the more I crave information. I don't know about you, but no, I do notice about you. Actually, I know you do enjoy like information, right? You study and you take in information kind of like I do. So I would go back in time to certain points in history to see how accurate the stories are that we've been fed. Because I know there's a lot of stories that are not true, or they're either exaggerated or they leave a lot of things out. So time travel would be nice to go back in time just to check the accuracy of a lot of these stories that we've been told. let's see.
Yeah. Oh shit.
Is it a plane? Is it a bird? No, it's Chris. That's funny, man.
You know what? Okay, bearing in mind about in terms of like being able to go back. Yes, I think as a knowledge seeker myself, um, for some reason I have this. I'm intrigued to know certain things. So yes, definitely to go back and find out. But then again, there's a price. You know, there's a price to pay for certain things. You know, because once you know these things, and you come back into the reality that you left behind, and you don't have the power to influence it. First of all, do people even care about knowing what the past is about? You know, so I think sometimes even knowing too much information could be disastrous, you know, to the mind itself. But I think I would definitely want to go back to find out certain things about history, um, you know, just to have that awareness, you know, like, you know, just the knowledge, you know, just to satisfy my own urge of seeking information. So that's a good one. I'm flying, man. Oh my goodness, yeah, that would be serious. You know, that would be serious, man. And if you guys can leave in the comment section, you know, let us know what superpowers would you guys go for. You know, I'm guessing it's probably gonna be flying as well, or you know, maybe time traveling, but. Yeah, man. If you got the time, leave in the comments what kind of superpowers you guys go for. I'm kind of intrigued to find out what Ashley's gonna go for. You know, what superpowers Ashley go for, and Panda as well, and everyone else in here. So yeah, man, don't be shy, man. Let us know. And
Yeah,
yeah, man.
man.
First of all,
How was
that
your weekend?
yeah, I was gonna get to that. Oh my goodness, man. It's just it's it's gone too quick for me. It's Sunday already. You know, like I'm back to work on Monday, and I'm starting to realize, man, this is not the kind of life I want to live. You know, Monday to Friday, you know, work, then you know have the 2 days to yourself, then you're back to work again, and it's like it's the routine, man. And I feel like I want to break out that routine and find something fulfilling to do. You know, just live more of an expressive lifestyle. You know, I think that's what life's about. You know, um, especially at work. You know, you meet your colleagues and they tell you how they've been there for 20 years and 30 years, and I look to myself and I'm like, this is not. I don't want this to be my story. You know, this is not the kind of story I want to have for myself. So, but yeah, it's one of those weekends where like self reflection, um, reflecting on how I want to change things for myself.
You know
But yeah,
what's you know what's scary? This happens to us frequently, where for some reason we're on the same frequency. Over the weekend, I asked myself, what image am I leaving for my kids and maybe my kids' kids? Because I was in deep thought about a lot of different things, right? Some past relationships, some family issues. You know, everybody has family issues and all of that. And I'm thinking to myself, you know, what's the best image possible that I can have for my sons to then tell their kids? Like, you know, my dad was XYZ. I look at my dad a certain way, right?
mm,
Everybody has their positives and negatives. I look at my mom a certain way. Everybody has their positive and negatives, but you know, hopefully one weighs outweighs the other. And I know in my heart of hearts that I'm way more positive than I am negative, but those negative things that I'm still working on, it led me to have that thought over the weekend where it's like, what am I really trying to show my children eventually? And is this the life that I want to continue to live? And kind of like you, like saying like I'm not fully happy yet, right? I'm a happy individual because I get to do what I love. Um, I love what I do because I help put a smile on people's faces in real life, right? And it's important for me to kind of spread that love, so to speak. But how is it looked at on the other side? And I don't care what people outsiders think of me. That does not phase me at all. I'm talking about internally with my family. Like how are my boys gonna look at me when I leave this planet? Like what's the thought process that they're gonna have? And there's certain things, long story short, that led me to remember that there are certain things that I still need to take care of, like right now. I still have some certain things to iron out right now, like Me being essentially, I'm an entrepreneur, but I'm still a hustler, and a hustler has little time to do certain things. I want to spend more time with my kids. Yes, I'm building my business, and yes, that's me away from my kids, but it's a sacrifice that I do need to take. But how much of that sacrifice am I going to continue to push? So it's interesting how we can. I swear, like you're across the pond, right? Like how do you like to say it? But it's very interesting how we tend to think alike during any circumstances.
I
If
mean,
you
for real.
So what would be your life that you would picture for yourself? What would make you the happiest that you think you can be? What does that look like to you?
I think I think when I say this, I'm probably speaking for everybody else in terms of basically breaking out the routine that has been set for us. You know, um, because we can all have a discussion on this, but the truth is we do have some sort of a set routine that once you come into the world, it's already kind of waiting for you. In terms of growing up, going to school, graduating, getting married, getting a 9 to 5, or open up a business, then you die. I mean, okay, wait, before you die, you have kids as well, I'm sure. You do all the basic set routines that's already been set for you by the powers that be. So I think, a fulfilling life for me would be to be able to break out of that. Don't get me wrong, the routine is good for certain people. And I'm sure we do find joy in, like in our simple accomplishments. But personally, I feel like there's got to be more to life than that. I mean, there has to be, like because it's unfair to basically come here and just follow the same path and die off. And I feel like it would be nice for me to come out of that routine and just do something different, travel the world, go to different places, learn about different cultures. Because when you look at it, it seems like it's only a select few that kind of get to do those things, travel the world, meet different cultures, different experiences, really see life for what it's supposed to be. While the rest of us are just gonna, leave work, have babies, and die. Yeah, that's really it. You know what
Right.
I mean? And I don't know, man.
That sounds so dark, but I
you know,
completely understand what you're saying.
yeah, but when you look at it, I like to think management. The grand architect, the celestial architects that created this place here. I'm sure they want us to do more than that. I like to think they do, because I'm sure they do. I mean, they got to. So it's just one of those things, man. But yeah, it's crazy. But what else can we do though? And at least we gotta be grateful for what we have, because what we have right now is still better than some people could wish for. So that's just the way I see it, man. But yeah,
That is true. That is true. By the way, this is Let's Have That Conversation Spacecast. This particular episode is sponsored by Kunatori Token. Shout out to Panda. We'll get more into that, like maybe like halfway into the space. I want to try to optimize as much people as possible so they can actually hear the message. So, but just want to introduce the show. But yeah, bro, like it's it's something that we need to practice is gratitude, right? We it could be better for everybody, I'm sure, because everybody has a certain outlook that they want in their own lives. But at the same time, like you said, it could be worse. So practicing gratitude on a daily basis is something that a lot of us should practice more often because it is self-reflective. It's like, you know what? I could have more, but I have a roof over my head. I have a car. I have a job. I have income, or whatever. Whatever someone's situation is, there's always something positive to pull from it. So yeah, it could
yeah,
be worse, and
yeah.
we need to appreciate what we have.
I mean, for real, like don't get me wrong. I'm guilty of that. I think most of us are guilty of. We don't mean it though. It's not something we set out to not be appreciative of the little things we have. But I think sometimes we get caught up, man. We get caught up in the storm, because life is full of different type of storms and hurricanes, man. And I'm not talking about actual weather, in just terms of how we are living our life and what's going on with us mentally. You know, and sometimes I walk around in my apartment and I'm thinking, wow, someone will wish to be here.
Right,
I'm saying, like,
right, yeah,
someone will wish to be here.
Right.
it's just it's a serious thing, man. But we listen. Um, there's a country out there called Yemen. I'm not sure whether you guys know about it, but Yemen has been in war since I was a boy. I'm a man now. It's still in war. What does that tell you? I mean, this has been years. It's been a war since I was a boy. I'm a man now. That's years of conflict. Like kids that wouldn't even be able to experience, after things I've seen in my life and you guys have seen in your life. So that's why sometimes I hate when we that we have the privilege to be in a developed country, when we bring chaos, when we have a self-inflicted chaos in our community. It kind of breaks my heart because when you look at other people, they don't have a choice. They were born into chaos, and we shouldn't have to self-inflict that on ourselves just because. So let's try and be as grateful as we can, because boy, it's not easy, man. It's definitely not easy out there. So it is what it is.
It's not easy at all. And even more so, imagine if we were born, like you said, like that country has been war torn since you were a boy. Imagine if you were born just at a different place in time. Like I said time travel just to see like what's accurate, but shit, I could have been born where black people in America were going through the worst. I could have been born where I don't know, where it was easy to die of just a flu. You know what I'm saying? Like without modern medicine. I could have been born at a place where it wasn't the greatest. So who knows? Or you could be born in the future where where there's nuclear war everywhere and there's no more atmosphere and people are trying to leave the earth to try to populate Mars or some shit like that. So like being grateful for what we have for sure is a beautiful thing. It absolutely is. I want to read what Panda put real quick. One of his, I don't know if you saw it, Fadaka, but he says lie detectors as a superpower, right? So in my mind, right? At first I laughed because that would be dope to see like who's lying, but I feel like that would be a gift and a curse. And what I mean by that is the people that you love the most, would you want to be disappointed by them by knowing how often they lie? That's a question for real. Like how do you feel? Would you want the ability to know when someone's lying?
Man, um, you know what? I think it's a great superpower if you know how to control it. Because we watch all the superpowers, and you realize in the beginning of it that it's all over the place, and they struggle with it, right? But from the moment they're able to control it, it's definitely a gift. So in terms of having that lie detector superpower, I think as long as you know how to control it to only when you need it, then you're definitely okay. Because can you imagine that shit is all over the place? You don't have any control over it. You got a girlfriend, you got your mom, you got your brothers, you got everybody lying to you. Nah, that's gonna be difficult.
Right.
that's gonna
Yeah.
that's gonna be a headache.
Everything you hear in your head is lies. Like all these people around me are liars. Like I feel like that's what I'm saying. I feel like it would be depressing. It'll put you in a state of depression. I think so at least.
Yes.
Or but then again, you know what? It like you said, if you can control it, right? So let's say if we're doing business, let's say if we're making a business deal, right? You know, okay, it would behoove you, right? It would be nice for anybody in here to know especially if they have business partners. If your business partner is saying this is what the revenue is, um, we made $1 million last year and this is your cut. But maybe that business partner is lying his ass off, and maybe that business partner is hiding funds from you. It would be nice to have it in a business sense, right? Because you can probably never necessarily trust everybody, especially in this space right here, in this crypto space. You can't trust a soul unless you're like sitting directly next to them. And even then, maybe you have to question everything that they do because there's a lot of money on the table for a lot of these developers, and they can take $250,000 in a couple taps of a phone, right? In an instant, money can be gone. So having a superpower of a lie detector in business, I 100% can say I would agree with you, Panda, when it comes to that. I would thoroughly agree with you. That would make complete sense. Um, but okay, so Ashley says she wants to have the ability to read minds, and
Ooh,
but hold
hoo-hoo.
on, because
Damn.
that's a lot right there, right? But ZOG replied to her with something very intriguing that I never thought about. He simply replied to her with, "But would you want other people to read yours?" Now, the first thing that came to mind, like, yo, wait, having the ability to read thoughts, I guess would be cool to a certain extent, but what you're actually doing is invading somebody's privacy, right? So, Ashley, I don't know if you're going to reply to that, but it would be interesting. Would it be okay for someone else to read your thoughts? Your deepest, darkest, essentially your deepest, darkest secrets are in your head, right? So, would you be embarrassed? Would you be confident in somebody reading your mind? Would you feel like they're invading your privacy? How, like, the ethics behind it is comes into play. You can read my mind, but I can't read yours. How is that fair? I don't know what you think about that, bro.
You know the thing is that I think that's one of those tricky superpowers, man. But they're very useful. I feel like if I had a band of superheroes, I would definitely want someone that's able to read minds. But in terms of me actually having that superpower, man, I'm not actually sure about that, man. Because, but then again, if you have that kind of superpower, I'm sure you'll be able to control how much you give off, especially with Professor, what's his name, Xavier. I think he had the power to read minds, didn't he? Uh,
Yeah.
and I think was he able to control it? No, no, no. Sorry, Magneto could by wearing the he had a hat, so you could
No, no,
control. I
no.
mean,
So
go on.
Professor X had the ability to read people's minds and to actually take
Yeah.
control of them. Magneto
Oh,
wore
yeah, I
the
like
helmet.
that.
Yes, Magneto wore the helmet because the helmet protected him from Professor X getting into his head. That's how
Ah.
that went. Right.
Oh, okay, okay. Yeah. You know what? Fuck it. I'll take that. Control people's minds all day. For the good, for the good. I'm not a villain here. Actually, maybe I am. Who knows? But
But hold on. So even that comes up with there's another question behind that. For the good for you, oh shit, Faltron, what's going on? So the good for you may not be the good for the masses. So when you say for the good, it it's like everybody has their own thought process on what's good and what's not. A lot of people can say that the red pill is what's good and the blue pill isn't. So you, although you might make a lot of difference in this world if you can control people's mind for the good, there's still going to be somebody in this world that is not going to agree with you on your decision making. So even that, it all comes with some sort of caveat.
I mean, yeah, absolutely. I think that's the issue with superpowers. But at the end of the day, fuck it. We're all still gonna take it, right? So if it's on the table, I would grab a few. You know, I would
Gotcha,
definitely,
gotcha.
I would grab a few. But the thing is, I'm actually curious to know whether having this enhancement changes your character. Like you have a few superpowers. Does it make you better as a human being, or does it make you worse? I think that's one thing I like to know whether how if it actually affects the way you see things. Or do you get drunk on power and stuff like that? But you're right.
Mm.
You can never please everybody. You can never please everyone. But if we all think like that, then we will never make any decision in life. That's the way I see it. So even though if you have certain superpowers, like as long as you know your actions can eventually bring out some sort of a positive outcome, then fair enough. You'll have to go for it. If you believe it to definitely change lives for the better or to put people in a better situation, yes, you can see that. You can definitely. I would definitely put that in place. But like you said, you can't please everybody. But knowing that you can't, I can't live like that because you can never please anyone anyway. So you still have to take action regardless. So
Absolutely.
life is just what it is. People we're fickle, including myself. We're fickle and we break easily. I don't mean like break, like literally break, like your hands falling apart. I mean like we break easily in terms of how our minds work. So when you look at it like that, you can never ever please everyone. Someone is always going to complain about something, and that's okay. That's okay.
That is okay. You know what? So yes, humans are very fickle, right? Humans could be very fickle, and it can even lead to people being like mixy in the cases, but well, not necessarily mixy. I feel like that's just something that's a little bit different. But fickle to me, when I hear that word, is it not normal for humans to change their mind, are presented with new? It's almost social media. People make it seem as if it's a bad thing for you to change your mind
I
when
think I think you're having connection issues.
am
Do you
I?
hear me? Yeah.
I can
Or
hear
is it
you
just me?
fine. Maybe. Anybody in the chat, throw up a 100 sign if you can hear me properly. Because if I'm having connection issues, maybe I could leave and come back. Let's see.
I can hear you now. It's better now.
You can hear me now? Okay, okay,
Yeah,
cool.
yeah.
Okay. All right, so but yeah, I was saying if people are fickle, but that's not necessarily a bad thing because if you're presented with new information, it's actually healthy to change your mind based on whatever is presented to you, in my eyes at least.
Yeah, I understand that, but I think being undecisive sometimes can be problematic. So
Okay.
yeah, there's nothing wrong with like having I say something to you and maybe someone else brings a different information to you and you see a different you see a different side to that. I think that's within our rights. It's our duty to think like that. It's our duty to have a different opinion, even after having a set opinion. As a human being, I think we shouldn't the way we think shouldn't be uniform. It should be expressive. So you should be able to change your mind and see different sides of things. But I think undecisiveness sometimes could be problematic in terms of actually actioning certain things in regards to our life or another person's life. And when you're undecisive, sometimes it could be dangerous for other people. So fickle, it's okay, but it's all about the extreme of everything. If you're too fickle, okay, then we got an issue, because then that's really problematic. So it is what it is. I think this is the beauty of being a human being as well, because if we didn't have these characteristics, we'd be robots. We'd be
Right.
AIs, and yes sir, no sir, right away sir. Sit down there, stand up, that kind of mentality. So
Right, right,
but
That's
yeah.
true though. That is very true. I would always prefer it this way. I'd always prefer that we have our own thought processes. Hey, you know me, right? I like to debate. So even if somebody don't like something that I say, I'm always willing to talk about it because we've had plenty of conversations online and offline where I slowly either change my mind or I might, change your mind a little bit, and that's okay. It makes us more human. It feels better, in my opinion, when we have our own thought processes and we don't just go along with the status quo. Imagine if we did, because we would be in a lot much worse shape as humans when it comes to government manipulation if we just went along with whatever everybody else said to us. So you're right. There's a lot of positives to being the way we are. Absolutely. I wouldn't trade it for the world.
Absolutely no. And I think that's one thing as human beings we have to kind of learn to do to basically have a discussion about a topic and not necessarily identify with either side of the information. This what I mean is that like I can have an argument with somebody, but they've identified with that opinion to the point where they're ready to go to war against my opinion, my information. And I think that's not really necessarily healthy. We shouldn't be so in a hurry to identify with something, to choose a side, because at the end of the day, we should come together to solve a situation, not be like, okay, this is my side of it, and this is your side of it. My side has to be right and stuff like that. I think that's what's killing us as human beings. And you see that quite a lot on this space here. We don't get together to solve anything. We kind of get together to conquer each other's information.
Mm.
Like it's like some sort of a gladiator mindset. My information will conquer yours. But the age of Alexander the Great is over. We need to move away. We need to move on from that. Those days are gone now. But we do need to have a let's solve an issue mindset instead of, oh, my information is more of a titan than yours, is greater than yours. You know, fuck it. Like, it is what it is. But I think as human beings we are slowly becoming more problematic, and I think social media it's not helping. It's like it's the ingredients from hell. Social media, so it's not really, I don't think it's putting us in the right place mentally. What's your take on that?
Well, you know my take on social media. I hate this thing called social media. It's and I'm saying that while I'm using the platform, right? Um, how it's a necessary evil because it's one of the greatest tools that we have as normal everyday citizens from across the world. We get on Twitter, and a lot of people love Facebook. You could argue WhatsApp is kind of a bit of a social media platform too, but we share information um constantly. So there's a need for it, although can be a lot of that information can cause a lot of mental health issues. But at the same time, I wouldn't know that there's police officers in Nigeria abusing their power if it wasn't for social media. I wouldn't know that, you know, South Korea had a really a really crazy stampede the other day, and a lot of people with it. And like upsetting news is still news in a sense where it's good to know what's going on in the world. It's good to know where we stand in the world. It's good to know that there are people that care. It's good to know that there are people that are fighting for the rights of others that maybe don't have a voice. It's it can be overwhelming. I put out a tweet I think yesterday. I feel as that I don't know if there's more people dying or we're just more exposed to death. And even that is kind of it puts like a mental strain on me personally. If I'm seeing a lot of death, I take a step back away from social media, me personally, because I can't stomach it. Um, at the end of the day, though, it's still a necessary evil because let's talk about investing, right? I only know about Konatori token because of Twitter. If it wasn't for Twitter, I would not know that that project existed. If it wasn't for Twitter, I wouldn't know that it's actually a decent project. If you look into it, it's actually a really decent project with a real decent use case that other projects are trying to emulate. Um, Konditori token has been around it's what 11 months, Panda. Um, and it's kind of wild that if not for Twitter, I wouldn't know what it is. YouTubers, I my first bit of information from investing, I went straight to YouTube. I think you had the same path for DACA. I went
Yeah.
to yeah, so I YouTube Sheep because everybody was talking about that. Sheep, Doge, Safe Moon, all the popular, infamous, and famous tokens or coins. I went to YouTube first, but hidden up and coming tokens that are actually working throughout the bear market because we've been in the bear market for about a year technically. Not even technically, we've actually been in a downtrending bear market for a year. I wouldn't know Quinatory token existed if it wasn't for Twitter. I found the information. I don't even remember how I found them. Matter of fact, I think they found us. Yes, now it just clicked in my head. Quinatory token found us for DACA with Safe Space when we were doing Safe Space. I think I knew of them, but I didn't really delve deep into the project until they jumped in the DMs back then. Um, but again, it pointed me into a good direction to look into a good project with a good use case, especially since we were invested in another project that was doing pretty much the exact same thing. The difference here is that, I guess we could run the ad right now, right? The difference here is that, Kunatori token has a really good I'm not gonna say idea because it has been around for a long time. But Staken, they wanna they're pushing for a higher yield return and a more stable yield for return when it comes to staking. Their staking, instead of giving you their native token, you get rewarded with with stablecoin. It's better than having the
Fantastic.
right. It's better than having the return in the native token because now you're not dumping on the charts, you're not cashing out on the charts, so there's no negative effect on it, based on that. And also, if you get one of the NFTs, you get a higher yield for your staking rewards. I don't know if there's any other project that's doing it that has a centralized exchange that's going to be doing that. So, and they're working with a good team. It's not just Kunitori Token. I forgot what team that they partner with. Forgive me, Panda, for not knowing the name of the team. Hey, Panda, by the way, if you don't mind, can you send me the link for the team that you guys are working with? Because I know I watched them on Twitter. I just can't for the life of me remember the team, and I think it's good, important information. But yeah, this episode 3 of Let's Have That Conversation, is sponsored by Kunitori Token. They are a centralized exchange in a space where we need more we need more of a decentralized look into a centralized exchange. And that's why I think it's important for everybody here to at least look into it. I'm not telling you to invest. I'm not telling you to buy into anything. I'm not going to give you the contract address because I feel like that's not my responsibility. I think it's your responsibility to actually do the research for yourself and find that information for yourself. I'm just going to give you a basic overview information about their project. Um, I'll say this though. I've been watching them for a long time, and if I watch a project for a long time, that means there's something of substance there. So I know Fadaka, you looked into it.
You know what? I just want to mention two things that I appreciate, and the first one is the community. From the moment we tweeted that
Yes.
we'll be sponsored by them, the amount of people that was just happy, it just showed some sort of like a togetherness, which I appreciate in this space. And I think one thing I also recognize about the team is that they don't get involved with the tribalism in the space. They have their own little island to kind of like their own little corner to develop their token, build their spaces, and obviously take it to the next level. And I mean, you can't go wrong with a project that wants to reward you in stable coins. And what does that say? It says that they actually care about the people investing in the token. And I think that's a fantastic idea because I feel like that's something a lot more other tokens should do. They should reward people in stable coins, because you got to look out for your customers at the end of the day. And I think that's a nice approach there. And they have a business like mindset, which you don't get to see that quite a lot in the space. Most of these token have some sort of an adventurer mindset. They're in it for themselves. And to have a token that's actually thinking of others apart from just themselves alone, I think that's refreshing, man. And it shows you, man, that it's definitely going to go somewhere because they have the right ethics, and the strong moral ground to take the business to the next level. So yeah, man, shout out to everybody, man. I mean, listen, my tweets was going crazy when I mentioned sponsored by Konatori. Listen,
Right.
man, I thought, what the hell is going on here?
That's
Who are
right.
these
They came
guys?
out.
And this, you gotta understand something, like we are in a space where some tokens are titans in the space, man. We can't deny it. I could mention names of titans tokens in the spaces, but to find a token like an Notori and to see the energy that you would expect from other tokens that have already kind of established themselves. I think that's they're underrated, man. But surely with time, man, there would definitely be a titan in the space as well. If they're already not, who knows? But yeah, shout out to
Exactly.
Konatori Token, man. And we appreciate the sponsor, and we appreciate the Panda coming in. I've been seeing his name. He's been coming to our space for so long.
Yeah.
So I just want to kind of like extend my hand and say thank you, brother, man, for always showing us love. And yeah, man.
Yeah. And I'll say this as a disclaimer. Panda Panda as a part of Kunatori Token, right? Panda has been in our space since day one, since we started the first episode. Yeah, he is the KTO marketing executive, but at the end of the day, I think he just enjoys the conversations that we have here. And I approached Panda about the ad. They did not approach me. So I think that says a lot about the confidence in them. They're not using us. I approached Panda and I presented him with the ad idea, and he made history. He got the deal done for us, and he made history in having us them being the first sponsor of the Let's Have That Conversation. So shout out to them and their team over there.
Absolutely, yeah. That's a good thing you mentioned, man. That's history in the making, for real.
Absolutely.
It's a moment in history, man. Our first sponsor. So shout out to you guys, man. Shout out to the whole team, and we appreciate the love and support.
Absolutely. Hey bro, is there I think Powerball is a American thing, right? I know you guys have lottery over there, but what has been the highest ranking lottery in London?
Listen, it's nowhere close to 1.6 billion. That's for
Yo,
sure.
so
It's
this
nowhere.
morning, wait. Hold on. They updated it. It's 1.9 billion. It's
Oh, gee.
1.9 billion now. So
Oh,
imagine that.
oh, Lord have mercy.
It's one point. What that means is that you're gonna walk away a legit. Well, depending on what state you're in, you can walk away a legit billionaire. Because usually taxes will bring you down. If it was 1 billion, they'll bring you down to maybe like $600 million or whatever the case is. Depending on what state you're from and what taxes you have to pay, you can actually walk away with being a minted billionaire in America. That is ridiculous, man. Let me ask you, if you hit the lottery, if you had $1 billion in your bank account within the next month because you hit the lotto, what would be the first thing you do?
You know what, man? I am definitely gonna have a 30 month. I'm sorry, a whole month of fasting and praying. 30 days of
No, no, no,
fasting
no,
and
no, no,
praying.
no, no. I'm
You know,
not taking that answer. No,
listen,
fuck
listen,
that.
listen,
No, no.
listen, listen,
You're
listen
not
to
gonna
this.
you're not
You
gonna
got
tell me that, man. You
no
have a
look, look,
billion
look.
dollars and you're gonna fast and pray?
You
I'm
know
not
why?
taking that from you.
You know why? There's a reason for that, bro. There's a reason for that because I've had the experience of having a decent amount of money, and I've seen the kind of what it can do. Do you know what I mean? I've seen what that can do. Now, can you
Gotcha.
imagine? And this is just a few, a thousand here and there. Maybe. Do you know what I'm saying? Like, couple. This is not even heavy paper. This is just decent paper. And
Gotcha.
I've seen how it influenced me. I've seen how it has influenced people around me. That's even made more than me. Right. So imagine hitting one point. I mean, you're a fucking billionaire.
Yeah.
That's a superpower. I'm
Yeah,
saying,
that is a superpower right there.
that's a superpower. You could do anything you want to do. You could go
Right.
crazy. You could go crazy, bro. You could literally, because I feel like there'll be a point where you will have exhausted. You'll have exhausted the what you can do with that money in terms of, like, you don't even need to spend. You could spend 1 million and you already done all that you need to do in life and get bored, and that could be
Mm.
depressing. Because you understand something. For someone like me, I've never seen that kind of money before. Right. So by the time I'm already spending 50, 100 grand, buying houses, looking after people, I've already exhausted all my kindness. I've exhausted all my vices. I've exhausted all my achievements. I've exhausted anything I've ever thought I wanted to do in this life. And I haven't even spent 5% of my wealth. Now, once that's done, you've exhausted all these things, right? What happens after? Now, that is where the game begins. How do you channel your mind to stay stable?
Mm.
That's why I'm gonna pray for 30 days, bro. I'm gonna fast for 30 days. Just to say the grand architect of life that, please don't let this superpower be my downfall.
Right.
So you know what I mean? Because we're all gonna say we're gonna buy homes, and we're gonna do this. Yes, we are gonna do all that. But what happens after you've done all that and you're in the house and you're losing your fucking mind? You can get literally anything you want. You could lose your fucking mind, bro, if you don't know what you're doing. And I'm not ready to go crazy. I don't want to be in a psych ward. I mean, no, no, no. I take that back, guys. I don't mean no disrespect to to anyone going through mental issues right now. So that's not a fair thing to say. So you know, so yeah, I don't mean
No,
that.
no,
No
I
disrespect
meant
to
I
anyone going
meant
to.
what you said.
Yeah,
What you mean by that is saying that you don't know what the money would do to you, and there's a possibility that it could push you over the edge because you don't know.
absolutely.
You also don't know how others are going to treat you once they realize how much money that you now have.
Oh, they'll never know. Oh, no, 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 no. They'll never know. They would never know, bro. You can't listen. You can, bro. This one thing I've learned. Yeah, there's two things that can destroy whatever relationship you can have in this life. The first one is expected because it's money. So you
Mm.
always expect betrayal or money because it's just like even if it doesn't happen because it's people just act different. We might act different, even including myself. Maybe I'll act different to someone that might have won that amount of money. I can't say. And the other is women, but we're not talking about women here. But money can change so much. No one's ever gonna know, bro, because I don't really even have that kind of mentality to to be on the spotlight. I like to be behind the curtains, you know. So no one's ever. Can you? People know you a billionaire, bro. Oh my goodness, it's over.
Yeah.
You're gonna have to move. You're gonna have to move to Dubai, man. That's what. Yeah, I mean, if they know, I'll have to move.
You going to Dubai? Yeah. You know what?
That's the
Hey, Dubai is very they're very this is one of the safest places that you can go, right? In terms of
facts.
the very low crime rate, even though they're in a region that is war torn, right? The region in general, but Dubai specifically, from what I hear, is a very safe place to live, and especially if you have money, right? So I guess that's the appeal for a lot of people to actually go over there. I also heard the same thing about South Korea. South Korea is one of the safest places that you can go to. Um, but me, so if let's say if I hit a billion, right? If I have $1 billion in my account, I think I completely understand your response to it. For me, everybody that I love will be millionaires. That would be the first thing that I would do would be to make I mean, money isn't everything, right? It doesn't automatically mean that your life will be comfortable, but it can take away a lot of stress. Money is a tool if used properly. Some people don't know how to control it, right? But at the very least, I would gift the people that I love the I would gift them the lifestyle of a millionaire. Well, I'm not gonna say lifestyle. I would gift them $1 million. Um, and depending on what they're going through, maybe a little bit more, maybe a little bit less. But I would do that first. I would set my kids up, and then I would take a long trip in Jamaica. I would stay in Jamaica for a good month because Jamaica's just that beautiful and that serene, and specifically up in the mountains where the Maroons are. If you don't know who the Maroons are, do some research. They have a great history. But I think I would take a really long, relaxing, reflective vacation, and then once I come back, man, I'm gonna send a lot of these tokens, bro. I would I would actually invest heavily into a lot of these tokens. Like I'm gonna say do not take this as financial advice, but I'm gonna put a heavy stack into KTO, Kunatori token. I'm gonna put a heavy stack into MMAI, a real heavy stack into Polygon because they have outworked this space by far, but they got heavy pockets though, right? Volt looks like they have some real like insider with heavy money. I'll put some money into I'll be a heavy hitter in a lot of these tokens because guess what? If I hit the lottery and become a billionaire, I guarantee you I'm gonna make some smart investments to continue to push me into like 10 billions of 20 billions of dollars. I'm gonna if I believe in a project right now and I'm putting like $1,000 into a project, why won't I put $1 million into a project if I have $1 billion? You understand what I'm saying? If I can afford that shit, I'm gonna put a lot of money into a lot of different projects, which it'll do two things. It'll make a lot of the people the smaller wallets. It'll make a lot of them a lot of money, and at the same time, it'll solidify me as a real billionaire. I'm gonna buy a lot of Bitcoin. Oof, I'm gonna be. Oh man, I forgot about Bitcoin. I'll probably buy like 16,000 Bitcoins, like right,
Well,
right off the bat.
with that kind of money, you can make your own Bitcoin. You can
There
even.
you go. There you go. Oh, that's another thing. I'm gonna start my own project. With Fadaka, you know, and you know exactly what I'm talking about. You know what the idea that I have for a project, I think is a really good idea. And when I'm ready to, I'm gonna do it. Like it's gonna happen. If I had $1 billion, I'll do this shit tomorrow. But with how much time it takes for these developers to actually get something up and running, and from what I know from being at all, so I'm gonna take my time with it. But I have a really good idea for a really dope project that's gonna give more power back to the people that invest in it. Um, yeah, I'll just leave it at that. I'm not gonna give away my ideas right now, but but yeah, man, I would definitely I'm gonna stay a billionaire. Just put it that way. And Web3 is a beautiful way to stay to Web3 is a beautiful way to increase your buying power because imagine Leo, did you see I don't know if I sent you that article, but JP Morgan just made a big move in terms of just testing the waters. JP Morgan is looking to essentially they're looking to solve the same issues that XRP is trying to solve in terms of like transactions over the blockchain. And JP Morgan has a lot of money. So just imagine when real institutional money come into this space, man. We're so damn early, it's ridiculous. Go ahead, man. You was gonna say something.
No. I was just gonna say that. Sometimes people question whether crypto is the next stage, and I just want people to understand that every type of financial instrument that people can actually buy and exchange stuff for has different types of has been evolving through time anyway. Do you know what I'm saying? Like everything has been evolving through time anyway. So we're not gonna use this cash and whatever we're using right now. It's not gonna be forever. It's gonna evolve into something else. So that's why I find it shocking sometimes when people question whether the longevity of what crypto is gonna be like. Crypto is just the next stage of that because what we have right now, we've been using it for long, 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 long time. So it's definitely going to evolve. It has to evolve. So when you hear about JP Morgan and all this, they know this, and I think they've decided this as well. So but and slowly but surely, everyone is going to get on board with it, and it's definitely going to be the next stage, man. And I'm excited about it. And like I mentioned to Cool before, we're the first generation, and I think hopefully we can kind of reap the reward of being the first generation of this thing. So fingers crossed we do. And I like what Cool mentioned about I think once you have that kind of money, it'll be nice to help people like indirectly. So investing in all these projects that we are familiar with, so it can help people. At the bottom, I think that's a fantastic idea. Yeah, sign me up for that, man. You know,
Absolutely.
sign
And
me
that's what I
up,
said.
bro.
Like, imagine. So look, I mentioned XRP, right? When XRP is done with this stupid lawsuit that's taken forever because the SEC doesn't want to just tuck their tail and move on. When they're done, there is so much money coming to that project. There's going to be banks buying into that project specifically because their main objective is to help with heavy transactions, and of course banks have heavy transactions between one bank to another, banks overseas, et cetera, et cetera. With the amount of money that's coming in, I say it all the time. What a time to be alive, fam. Like we're gonna be next year, this time next year, November, me and you are gonna be comfortable, right? 2024 November, me and you are gonna be rich. If we're not gonna be rich next year, we're gonna be rich within a couple years just based on smart investments. The more smart investments we get into, the higher the possibility for a really good return on that investment. I'm not buying X, I'm not buying Y, and I'm not gonna tell you guys not to buy it either. A lot of people are DJs and a lot of people have made money from those projects, but I'm gonna buy things that are going to be here next year. You understand? Like you want a real super duper safe investment, buy XRP, buy Polygon. You want something that's going to have an explosive return once their utility gets up and running. It's still speculative, right? Speculative. I said that wrong. But it's you can get into MMAI, you can get into KTO because they still have to deliver their actual utility, right? But if they hit that utility perfectly, projects like MMAI, projects like KTO, projects like Terrarium, if they do it properly and if they manage it better, all those projects, if they hit it well, a lot of us are going to be very comfortable. And it just feels amazing to realize that all it takes is just a little bit of time and patience and smart moves, good research. Get to know these devs. Pay attention to the devs that answer questions. Pay attention to the devs that jump in spaces and get to know the community a little bit better. Panda, right? Get into Web3, and Web3 will reward you at the end of the day. The other part about all this shit is that I love Kino was good, fam. Um, the other part of all this that I love is that my kids and Kino's kids, when Kino decides to like I don't want to put your business out there, but I'm sorry. But I already said it, right? If Kino has a child one day, our kids are gonna benefit from Web3, and especially more if we invest into it. So it just I know this isn't a crypto space, but I guess it's kind of turned into a little bit. But it feels good to know that we are at this perfect timing in the world where if we do the right thing on our end, we're gonna be in a very good headspace moving forward. I'm gonna say this though. More money, more problems is a real thing. Like Fadaka was saying earlier.
I want the problems, bro. Give me the problems.
Yo, there's a Drake song. I'm gonna send you this Drake song, man, on his new album. This song is literally more money, more problems, but give me the problems, right? But anyway, you know what? Take care of our mental though. Take care of our mental and our body. What's the point of having $1 million if your body doesn't allow you to enjoy it? What's the point of having $5 million if your mental state if your mental state results in take care of your mental, take care of your body, because when the money comes in, you're gonna be able to enjoy it. I'm gonna say that. So, but yeah, shit, give me the problem, Fadaka. Because I'm built for it anyway. I've been through worse shit in my life. I'm sure money ain't gonna make it worse. You know what I'm saying? Like I've been through a lot. $1 million, I can manage that. You know what I'm saying? So
Yeah, for
um
real.
sorry for that. Hey Daniel, pardon me. I always forget to put out this disclaimer. The space is more of a general conversation between me and my brethren. I see the request. Don't feel like you're being ignored, but it's the makeup of the space cast is essentially just me and my brethren talking. At some points, we will have special guests. Like Kino's gonna come up here and talk with us. Daniel, you're gonna come up here and talk with us. Ashley, how you doing again? You're gonna come up here and talk to us one day. Panda, same thing. Like the people that are gonna be in the space often, we're gonna have days where we're gonna have special guests to basically join in the conversation besides the comments. But Daniel, if you do have something to say, which I'm sure you do, obviously, throw it in the comments. Throw it in the comments, and we're gonna respond to it. We're gonna kind of like run the space like that for the short term. At some point, like I said, but we're gonna have you come up. But yeah, bro, for like, go ahead.
No, I was just gonna because obviously I've kind of like given my idea of me being a billionaire. You've mentioned yours. I'd like to find out what everyone else would what would be what would be that thing or that that process of you waking up knowing you're a billionaire. If you can leave that in the comments, I want to read this because I feel like it's gonna be interesting. To see how you guys will see yourself as winning. Now, another question is: would you rather make it or actually win it? I mean, it don't really matter. It don't really matter. Don't get me wrong. You take it either way. I mean, I'll take it. It don't bother me. But if you could choose, how you will become a billionaire, would you rather make it or win it through lottery? That's not. I think that's an interesting.
No, before I answer, what city can prefer to be gifted knowledge with the work for it?
Um, if someone showed me my future, or someone reliable that I know they got some sort of they could see things, right, and they say to me, young man, you're destined to be a billionaire, or you're destined to be a millionaire, and it's certain, it's actually written in the books for me, right? I'll rather have my idea and make it through that, right? That's on that note. But if I don't know, if I've never spoken to a fortune teller, and I have no idea whether I'm destined to be someone wealthy, you don't bother me, bro. Win it, make it, whatever. I'll take it, man, because like beggars can be choosers. Do you know what I mean? But if someone says to me, bro, you're gonna be wealthy, and they know for sure, then obviously I'd like to work for it. Like use my ideas, because sometimes there's joy in that. There's joy in reaping the rewards of your ideas, the rewards of your strategies, the reward of your plans. It's a beautiful thing, man. When you make money off an idea that you have, it's very rewarding. So yes, on that note, yeah. But if I don't know and no one knows, it don't bother me. I'll win it, man. I'll take the money. I don't care. I just won't
All
tell no
right.
one.
All right, so I'm gonna give you, so my answer to that is both. What do I mean by that? Yo, if you give me $1 billion today, I trust me when I say I can probably turn that into 500 billion. I have a lot of Kino knows, and Fadaka, in the short amount of time that we've been talking, man, my head is full of ideas. I I literally think of ways to make money all the time. Is I don't know if it's like a gift or a curse, but my mind doesn't stop when it comes to that stuff. And I have so many ideas that if I had the capital behind it, or if I knew someone with the capital that I trust, that I wouldn't just steal my idea and go off with it, I can turn $1 billion into 500 billion within 5 years. Easy. Easy. And I know it might sound arrogant or cocky to some people, but I'm just that confident in myself and when it comes to my ideas that I have in my head. When I tell you the token idea in my head is a easy $1 billion business, I'm not talking about $1 billion market cap now. I'm not talking about that. I'm talking about the revenue generated from my idea specifically is easily worth $1 billion. And when we're ready, right? Because my people are coming with me, when we're ready, we're gonna do it. And if I had $1 billion in my pocket to fund it myself, I can easily turn that same idea, that one idea that I have, into $10 billion, $20 billion damn near overnight. But in due time. So to answer your question, it would be both. If you give me $1 billion, I would appreciate it. But I'm going to take a lot of pride in turning that same $1 billion into $500 billion within a 5-year time span. I'm that confident in this particular idea and in the other ideas that I have. I have somebody else, my other brethren, that he's a Gemini too. And apparently Geminis are thinkers like that. He has ideas. Hey, chill. But my brethren Rohan, like he has ideas all the time too. So it would be cool to sit down in a room. If I have the capital, I will give my people, yo, let me be your angel investor. Here's you need $1 million. Here's $1 million. Give me a percentage off the top, and I would just literally just all the people that I know and that I care for and that I love. I will sit down in a room with them, let them pitch me an idea, and I will fund everything that makes sense. And if it doesn't make sense, maybe we could sit down with the people that would make it make sense, if you understand what I'm saying. Whatever resources that I can pull with the money that I have, I would turn my community of people that I love and care for, and I would make I would make those platforms, I would make those companies into whatever it needs to be. So yeah, that if I won the lotto, or if I was gifted $1 billion, trust me when I say I'm changing a lot of people's lives and a lot of families' lives, because these people have families too, right? So yeah, I would take pride in that. That's where the pride and good feelings will come from, because I know that I'm helping other people than myself. That would feel amazing to me. My family in Jamaica, like just having them, just even if it's just to establish like a business, a simple business where, and I'm not just gifting people money just because, right? And that's why I said, like, yes, the people I love will be millionaires, but I would try my best to guide them in the right direction so that their $1 million will turn into something better somewhere down the line. Don't just spend it on houses and cars and shit like that. Like, do something with the money. But yeah, that's kind of my answer. Let me see in the comments what people are saying. Uh, I'd rather win it. You don't make slash earn that kind of money without sacrificing your morals somewhere along the line. Okay, so Josh, I like that comment, and I'm kind of interested in how you feel about this, Fadaka. A lot of people feel that billionaires aren't billionaires without the cost of your morals, or you're hurting someone somewhere. Because some people don't give a fuck about morals, right? Some people, morals doesn't mean anything. Morals don't mean the same thing for everybody. Integrity isn't the same thing for everybody. Everybody doesn't have principles. So some people don't even care. But in order to make it to $1 billion, a lot of people in this world feel like you have to hurt someone on your way there. Now, I kind of feel like I know what you're going to say, but what's your take on that? How do you feel about the thought of billionaires only make it there because they're hurting somebody along the way?
Bro, even the poor man is certain someone being poor.
Mm.
You know what I mean? The average earner is earning is they're hurting someone being an average earner.
So,
We're,
so ex-
we're, we're,
expand on that though.
so what I'm trying to say is like you can't have a measuring stick for a billionaire saying okay they became a billionaire because they had to step on toes to get there. And I'm saying to you that we're already stepping on toes being the poor man. So what's the difference? We're stepping on toes in our 9 to 5 jobs anyway. We're stepping on toes in our little business that we're making few money from. We're hiring people in general. So making a billion shouldn't have a measuring stick to say, oh look, you can only get there because you're hiring somebody. You're hiring somebody sitting on your sofa doing fuck all anyway. So what difference does it make? I get it. I understand. You
Hmm.
can't, the certain levels you can't accomplish without, stepping on somebody. I get that. And I understand the point of view. And I think, when you get into that level, you're mixing, you're rubbing shoulders with different kind of people, man. So definitely you're going to be doing something you shouldn't be doing, you know. But my point is, we're already doing something we should be doing anyway as a normal, basic, people. So why should the poor man that's hurting people get away with hurting people, and why the billionaire be stigmatized to say, oh, you can only make a billion if you step on toes? It doesn't mean nothing. I mean, to me, it doesn't, because at the end of the day, we're doing fuck all anyway. We're hurting people in general. So, look, I think at some point we just got to kind of like um, respect the people um, that have taken that leap forward. Because who are we to say? Why should we put ourselves in the position to say, okay, they only got there because of this? They got there regardless. We don't know how they got there, and I don't think we should speculate. Because at the end of the day, that's their thing. They've done it. If we want to do it too, let's go. If you want to do it, go do it. So that's my way of seeing it. But either way, man. And some people are okay. They're okay with being a villain. They don't
Right,
care.
right.
they could care less of
That's a fact.
like they're okay with being a villain. They're okay with being the bad guy, because at the end of the day, they've found a way to create a world for themselves that you can't penetrate. You can only speculate from the outside looking in, and that means nothing to certain people. So yeah, that's the way I see it. It doesn't matter, man.
So, so how I see it is this too. Like, yes, on your way to making it, you're gonna be taken from someone at some point. if my $1 billion idea comes to fruition out of the pockets of other companies because my product is a direct competitor to a big player in tech, my particular product. I don't know if you remember the conversation that we had, but you know what I'm talking about when I say that. W- I'm going to be taking away some sort of revenue from someone or from some entities. Is that a bad thing? Am I hurting them? Yeah, I guess I'm hurting them. I guess I'm hurting their business. But it I thought in my thought process, that's a good thing because I feel like competition can only benefit consumers. And if I'm making a product that's consumer based, at the end of the day, it's going to force the other company's hand to do better. So I'm hurting them, I guess, temporarily. But am I going to be stepping on toes of like everyday people that's just walking around this planet? I think not. Me particularly. Am I going to be hurting someone? I guess technically, but does that matter? I feel like no. Why do we care about feelings of someone else when, as long as we're not really, when I say hurting people, if you're taking away from someone and on a competition level, I feel like that doesn't equate to you hurting someone. Now, if you're a multi-billion-dollar business and you're treating your employees like crap and or maybe somebody else is in control of the warehouses and they're treating the employees like crap and you don't do anything, there's a conversation to be had there. But even then, I can argue that if you sign up for a job and if you take abuse, I feel like that says more about you than it does your employer. I don't know, like there's a lot that we can unpack there. I'm not gonna jump into that particular
Oh,
conversation.
quick question. Quick
Mm,
question. Just before you land. Now, okay, you've worked for a billionaire before, right? By
yeah.
working for Amazon. Now, so you'll be the best person to say what was your experience like working for Amazon? And I'm not even talking about your experience in terms of how you interacted with certain individuals, like maybe a manager or colleague, because those people are just their own people. So the
Exactly.
way they might treat you doesn't necessarily reflect the culture and the tradition that what's his name, the billionaire guy, has kind of like indoctrinated into his business.
Right.
So now overall, in terms of the culture and the tradition of Amazon while you worked there, how would you say working for a billionaire was like?
I'm gonna tell you this, bro. It was it was one of the best experiences in my life. And
Bingo.
I'm gonna break it down in a few different levels. When I first started working for Amazon, I actually came from just doing my own thing, right? I was hustling with Uber, Uber Eats, Postmates. I just took my car on the road and I was driving people around. I was picking up food for people. I was trying to get to the bag as much as possible. This was after I left the hospital. I left the hospital because I always hated when people had authority over me. That's just been a thing since the day I was born. I hated that other people had the ability to tell me what to do. I left the hospital eventually because I got tired of somebody else telling me what to do. I started working for myself. I didn't plan it properly, so I was in a little bit over my head, and eventually I had to go back to work for somebody else. I went to Amazon, and all of those horror stories that people told me about or that was on the internet, that's all bullshit. Or you know what? Let me not say that. My warehouse, if you allowed the managers to treat you like shit, you would then be treated like shit. If you know how to stand up for yourself and demand respect, if you know how to stand up for yourself and take care of your job description, your job title, then you are actually revered in that place. What Amazon is in terms of a warehouse, what they're actually doing is actually breeding greatness. What do I mean by that? If you go to Amazon, if you go to an Amazon warehouse and you bust your ass, and I'm not talking about going above and beyond. If you just deliver what they ask you to deliver, you're gonna have some manager take you under their wing and start teaching you numbers. Amazon is a data business. They run just nothing else. Numbers behind the scenes. So I got to where so we had it all packages. When my eyes was open to that, it changed the way I looked at everything. And it literally gave me, I want to say 70% of the information that I needed to run my own personal business in terms of deliverance, numbers, um, customer obsession. They have like different principles that you could take from the job that if you can apply it to your own business, trust me when I say like it can change your life. Amazon breeds businessmen. If people don't like the way they were treated at Amazon, it's because they didn't like to work, they didn't understand what they were signing up for, or they allowed people to treat them like shit. Now, that does happen, right? Uh, People do treat people like shit. People are people at the end of the day. People abuse their power, of course. But all it takes is for you to just to raise your voice a little bit. And when I say raise your voice, I mean like use your voice, go to HR, and you could clear something up within a snap of a finger. I've seen that happen all the time. I've actually had to do it myself. I took somebody to the office and was like, yo, this person is being treated like shit, but they don't have a voice. I'm speaking on behalf for them. And when I say like within a week, there was immediate change, is ridiculous. So my experience at Amazon is actually a good experience. Working for that particular billionaire, not directly, but indirectly, has changed me as a businessman. It helped me to become the entrepreneur that I am today. And I would not change that experience for the world. Although I left that place, I didn't leave that place the happiest, but it's because again, I had a switch of managerial staff. The manager that came in, I didn't necessarily gel with. He had his own people that he wanted to bring in. There was a lot of nepotism there, and I went back to the thought of I don't like working for people. I don't like when somebody has the power to tell me yes or no when it comes to certain things. So one day I just stopped going. I put in like a request for some mental health days. They denied it. That was the last day they ever saw my face. Right? I went to the park one day. I took my product and I made $600 within a couple hours. And I'm like, why am I working for Amazon when I could work for myself for half the time and make three times the money? That was all the motivation that I needed right there. So it was like I had great experiences at Amazon, and even the bad experience pushed me to be who I am today. If it wasn't for that bad experience, I probably wouldn't have Cool and Chris. Cool and Chris would probably not be a business if I didn't have that bad experience. So literally, when I say like that place made me who I am, not no, I'm not gonna give them that much credit. Fuck that. I am who I am because I'm a rebel, right? Naturally, but Amazon helped to guide me to make Cool and Chris what it is earlier than I thought. I put on a vision board, Cool and Chris, um, the year 2025. My plan was to stay at Amazon and have Amazon support Cool and Chris behind the scenes. Cool and Chris was a thing since 2021. So 4 years difference. I shaved off 4 years of expectations from myself, and I created my LLC and I started doing my business based on just what I desired most. So at the end of the day, me personally, working for a billionaire helped me more than anything else. Bad experience, good experience, it's all experience at the end of the day. But yeah, that's my that was my experience. I keep saying experience over and over again, but that was my experience working for a billionaire.
Yeah. I mean, the reason why I wanted to kind of get your point of view is because I feel like rich people, they tend to get this bad rep from outsiders, you know, in general. I'm not saying we all do it, but I feel like they get this. And sometimes I feel like it's not fair because one day we might be that person. We might be there.
Oh,
You know,
so I'm gonna cut you. I'm gonna cut you
go
because
on, go on.
what you originally asked me was like my experience. You know something too? A lot of people in it's right. They say things like, "Oh, you should be grateful because you're talking to the dev," or you don't expect you can't reach Jeff Bezos and all. Yo, working for Amazon, Jeff Bezos is actually reachable. His email, and you could say maybe it's through his, maybe somebody's managing his email responses or whatever the case is, but all I had to do was open up a computer, type his name in, and his name in popped up just the same way as my name would if I entered my own name in that particular system. So the fact that he was actually accessible if I needed him, if I needed his guidance or whatever the case is, because my sister has had talks with Jeff Bezos before. My sister also works for Amazon, right? If I needed to, he is reachable. So that says a lot about a billionaire who's running a company that makes $1 million per second. Like it, billionaires have this bad, like you're saying, Vidaka. Again, I'm sorry to cut you off, but I just want to throw that in there. They're not all these evil people like people think they are. At least, again, with my experience, that wasn't the case.
Yeah, and you know what? Apart from just billionaires, even rich people, just wealthy, normal people, we tend to, from the outside looking in, there's this some sort of a bad rep, like it's some sort of injustice for them to earn and to be in the position they are in. And I think to myself, maybe you're going to be there one day. So why have this mindset? You might make it. You might cross that bridge and be over there one day. So, and I think we need to find a way. No, I'm not saying we do it necessarily, the people in the space, but I think it's just it's an overall thing where there's this bad rep for being wealthy. Like why are you wealthy for? How dare you make it? How dare you be better than us? And I think, what, just like who mentioned, and we agreed upon this, like this is the best. I think this period as of now, is one of the best period ever. The system has given us so many opportunities to take that step forward if we dare to. There's so many avenues where you can actually try and make something out of yourself now, if that's what you're into. You know, and I think it's time we need to just really not worry about what other people are achieving, not worry about how other people are living. And we don't know the kind of hard work they had to endure to get there. Yes, they might have stepped on toes and, maybe kill a few people. I'm not saying they have, I'm just saying. Uh, maybe they have, who knows? But let's not forget that they also had to endure something to get to where they got to. I'm sure being a billionaire is not something you could just wake up and get. Because if it was, we'd all be billionaires. So that's just the way I see it, man. But it is what it is, man. And yeah, bro, it's been a great Sunday, man. Uh,
That's better. And even like even to piggyback off of that, man, it's one thing to, and I'm not saying that people talk about billionaires have a misconception because at the end of the day, they don't know what anybody's doing behind closed doors. They could be one of the most giving people in the world. I don't know how much I could almost guarantee that at some point Jeff Bezos have no, he has like I don't know how directly it is or what organizations are behind it, but giving back to charity helps people at the end of the day. Regardless of who he has hurt along the way, at some point he's also helped a lot of people along the way. And maybe in America specifically, having job opportunities is very important. It's not all bad for rich people. And like you say, Fadaka, a lot of people in this space, we have about 17 people in the space right now. We're talking to future millionaires. If not, maybe I don't know. I don't know anybody pockets in here. Maybe some people are millionaires already. I don't know who's down here, but at the end of the day, I don't think having a bad perception of people who have money is okay to have right off the bat with no information behind it. Like for what? Like I'm born into a culture where we don't watch people, right? I don't watch how people make it or don't make it. That it's not my business at the end of the day. So what my neighbor is doing with his pockets does not concern me. Unless it directly affects me in any negative way, I don't business what anybody does. And I feel like the more we have that mindset, is better for your own psyche if you don't care what other people are doing as long as they're not seriously hurting someone. Like, it's one thing to look at, all right, if you have, I don't know, if you have a pharmacy down the street that's selling illegal drugs to children, yeah, something should be done about that. But also, if you have a, I don't know, quick example, if there's a gym in your neighborhood and they're overcharging people, but people are still going, why do you care? Let let whoever's that owner is, let them make their money. It should not affect you how other people run their businesses, even if they're hurting people. If it's not direct, like, I'm talking about physical pain, people sign up for jobs. If they don't like it, they don't like it. That does not mean that they're hurting somebody because somebody doesn't have a good experience with their own job that they signed up for. They forcing you to do something. You could leave at the end of the day, like I did. I've left many jobs because I didn't like the way I was being treated. Because my mental health is more important to me than a paycheck. But I also understand that not everybody has is that comfortable with just walking away. I also understand that not everybody has the same um luxuries as I do. Because everybody has some sort of luxury, right? I Where I live, it could be worse. That's a luxury. Somebody could have it worse than me, you know? So a lot of different ways that you could look at this, but why does it matter? To go back to what we've talked about personally, Fadaka, I'm talking to you through a computer. We are in a world where you can pick up your phone and create revenue with an idea in a snap of a finger if you know what you're doing. If you have good work ethic, if you have a good idea, you could turn that into money within within a day in some instances. Complaining about how other people get it would never make sense to me when we are in a time period where you can literally do anything that you want. I feel like, and again, I know it's not easy. I'm not saying that it's an easy thing at all. I know it takes work. I know it takes some sort of effort, but complaining about it and just like you said earlier, just sitting on the couch is going to do nothing for anybody. It's not going to get you anywhere. The fact that we can make money by just picking up our phone is ridiculous to me, and it's again going back to the whole concept of what a time to be alive, especially with Web3 popping up. We can literally just I can draw a stick figure in my phone and sell it for $100. People have sold invisible pictures for thousands of dollars. It sounds ridiculous, but if you if you are just paying attention to what's happening in the world, you can and will make money if you just put your mind to it and sit back and study and like learn the game. But I'm sorry, I went on a little bit of a tangent just now, but
No, no, for real. But it's the realness of it. People don't want to listen to this, but I think that's because people are probably not saying it enough. I've learned to understand now that the blame, pointing the finger and blaming something or blaming this and blaming that, it's not really going to work, especially in this day and age. Like, people are really making it, man. And look at the platforms available. You've got YouTube. There were millionaires made of YouTube. Who would have thought that? Millionaires made of YouTube, just showing their life and doing crazy things on YouTube, and they made a living out of it. Now, I'm not saying that's going to be where everyone's going to make their own. Of course not. The fingers are not equal for a reason. Everyone's going to have their own little corner where things are going to change for them. Instagram, the people that probably didn't make it on YouTube made it on Instagram or TikTok. So like it is out there for us. There's different avenues, there's different platforms that we can actually channel something. And take away the social media. Even life now is different. Like, people are making good money from Life 5. Like over here in the UK, there's a project manager frenzy. Everyone's trying to be a project manager in the UK. They're making big bucks. So like I think life in general, people tend to have this drag you to hell with them mentality. They want to drag you they want to drag you to where they're going. And it's a sad reality at the end of the day. And like I say, like, we don't we want to try and live an expressive life, and do the best we can, and hopefully achieve the best we can. And I'm not saying, living a basic life doesn't mean you've achieved what you want to achieve, because even the basicness is still better than some people's normality. So I think sometimes social media as well doesn't help. It has its qualities, but I think sometimes it allows people to drown in negativity. I think I spoke to Cool about this. Like, I feel like social media, the tool, the system itself, it can actually allow you to drown in negative mindset. It can, like, basically it can take away your thinking ability and give you some sort of a blame mentality, in terms of like you have to blame everyone for, it's like it's dumbing you down, it's zombifying our mentality. And I said to Cool, man, like this, if we're not careful, we won't even have our own organic thought process anymore. We will only say the things that we see on social media, and that will be our thought process, which is dangerous, because like, people are not actually critiquing the information they're conceiving from social media. And the thing that's so sad about our situation is that they don't even want to critique it, because it brings them joy to drown in that negativity. I'm telling you, I have an argument with somebody, and you can tell they are falling in love with that identity of that information that they've conceived from social media. They don't even
Mm.
want to let it go. It's a dangerous love affair. It's insane, bro.
It is dangerous, but yo, so man, it's one thing that, yes, our phones are a great tool nowadays, but it's also a dangerous weapon at the same time. The the hive mind mentality that goes into social media. Let's just take just DeFi alone, right? In the Web3 space. I don't know if there is any um negative comments about KTO. I haven't seen it, but I guarantee you at some point there was, and I guarantee you at some point there will be. And I also guarantee you that someone will read something, and without doing any sort of research on their own, they will just believe it because someone else said something that they wanted to think for themselves for the longest time. It could be like, yo, hey, there's a lot of people on this app that don't like me because I speak my mind. They don't. I'm blocked by hundreds, if not thousands, of people because I
Most
don't care
wanted.
what other. I might be one of them, right? But even though I can argue that a lot of my points are very valid, a lot of my points are extremely valid. It's coming from a place of independent thinking. And when you have somebody that thinks for themselves, and when you have somebody on the other side that don't want to hear any bad news about their product, they will get upset and they will, they'll block me, whatever the case is, right? But as 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 crit as I critique projects, right? As I say something critical about projects, there are gonna be people who read what I say, and without any research on their end, they're literally gonna take what I say as gospel. And I don't want that. So I don't do it as often as I used to anymore because I realize people are too hive minded. I don't even have a big following compared to other people, but I think people see the number of followers I have, and I think they equate it to some sort of automatic truth. If I say something, it must be true. And that's not fair to them. It's not fair to I mean, I don't care whether it's fair to me or not. I'm talking about just their own thought process. It's not fair for someone's thought process to be swayed that easily. And I know I don't know what can be done, but I think maybe people are just born with that type of mentality. People are just born with a certain type of mentality that just there are a lot more followers than there are leaders. I get that. But it's weird how people will just blindly follow negative thought processes. And I'm not saying like the things that I say is automatically negative, right? Because I look at it as a just me just being a critic. I'm a critic at the end of the day. I can't help it. That's a part of my personality. But it's dumb to just follow a critic. Even if it's even and I'm talking about myself. I have the utmost confidence in myself, but I'm telling you right now, you cannot just blindly follow anything that I say, whether it's positive or negative. But it's interesting how in this world that we live in this social media world that we live in, we have a lot more people that love the negative thought process than anything else. It's like a disease that's out and about. People love drama. People love the negative. People love the worst case scenario. They gravitate toward that before they would gravitate toward positive thought processes.
Yo, man, I know you mentioned about in this day and age, but I just realized something. I think even our predecessors experienced this as well. I think in that naturally people just follow. And if you look at all the disasters that's happened in the world, are you telling me there hasn't been a few people that just felt like this is not right? But you tend to see a lot of the masses, they tend to follow chaos. So I think this has been going on for centuries. We can just see it now. Social media allows us to see it because you can see
Mm,
it in the comments, you can see the way people react. Chaos is it's a drug. It is, man. It's an iron drug, man. You know, and people love to take it. Like just like you mentioned, I can write something negative right now that I created. It means nothing. I've never done no research about it. There's going to be so many people that are going to like that. They don't know. They don't even want to research to find the authenticity of it.
right.
They don't want to. They want to enjoy that negativity because it's some sort of a drug. So I wouldn't necessarily say it's something now. I think it's been going on for centuries. But I think now it's easier to see it. Because people interact on social media. And you can tell, okay, this is insane. They don't care though. So that's why sometimes you're right. I think a lot of us are followers. A lot of people are followers in general. And it's a sad thing. And I think that's how we've landed ourselves in this situation. I mean, just look around the world as well. Even the wars that are going on, we don't fucking know the truth. We are not in these rooms. We are not privy to this information. We have no idea about anything. But you find out how propaganda. Why is propaganda so powerful? That's because people are willing to tolerate it. People are willing to listen to it. If people critique things better, propaganda wouldn't even have the effect that it has. But propaganda is one of the strongest tools you can use to change anything in this world because even
Mhm,
they know
mhm.
that those fuckers over there, those human beings over there, they're fickle. They'll take anything. they'll,
Right.
they'll listen to anything.
Right.
So it is what it is, man.
It's propaganda. That in itself, man, that's a heavy topic because the 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 people that are creating that same propaganda study human psychology, and they understand that they can manipulate a certain set of people because so many people are hive-minded. It's easy to get into their psyche, man. And the powers that be understand it and they weaponize it whenever they want to. And it could be money driven, it could be political driven, um it could be driven by evil. There's a lot of that's a whole other conversation, and we're about to end the show. Hey, by the way,
Just
Dr. Nestle, I see the request, but let me throw out the disclaimer again. Let's have that conversation. Spacecast is really a conversation between me and Fadaka. That's how we're gonna be running it. But we are gonna have episodes where we're gonna have special guests. So one day we're gonna ask you to be one of those special guests. Same way like Daniel, ZOG, Panda, everybody here is gonna have some sort of chance, especially if you really dig the conversation. Because I would love to hear like a Dr. Nestle's thoughts on how billionaires are viewed, because Dr. Nestle runs a business himself, and I'm sure he probably had some experience where people thought that he was taking advantage of them, or maybe he hasn't. I don't know, but I would love to hear his thought process on a lot of different things because Dr. Nestle is like a mind that I respect in the space. But yeah, what was I saying? I lost my train of thought. What was I saying before that? Oh, hive minds. Oh, propaganda, right?
it's
Um,
crazy.
but yeah, it's interesting how people can and you know what? We're about to end the space, but what we didn't get into is the propaganda, the heavy, heavy propaganda that, you know what? It's a uncomfortable conversation, but the thought process is that if you say something, if you critique a certain set of people, fuck it, I'm not gonna sugarcoat it. If you critique Jewish people, you are considered anti-Semitic, even if your critique isn't necessarily hateful. I can say something like Jewish people own a lot of businesses in my neighborhood. If I say that out loud, I would be considered anti-Semitic, even though what I'm saying is the truth. I have a synagogue to my left, and I have a synagogue a couple blocks down to my right. It's not it's not anti-Semitic for me to acknowledge that, and I don't understand. Excuse me. I do understand why that is the response that comes out because when you say anti-Semite, you shut down any other conversation that could be had after that. And there's the manipulation there. As soon as you call someone a racist, you're shutting down a dialogue. Same thing with there's certain black people that call white people racist right off of just certain conversations when it's like, are they being racist? Or are they pointing out a truth that you don't feel comfortable with having a conversation about? There's something different there, right? So it's interesting how propaganda can be used in a multitude of ways, and maybe we can have a conversation in the next episode about who were the original Semites on this planet. That's an uncomfortable conversation, but there's a lot of evidence that points to Jewish people not being the original Semites. And if you say that out loud, you are anti-Semitic. And it's an interesting conversation to have because I truly think a lot of Jewish people don't know their real history because of propaganda, because they're suppressing the truth because the truth looks hurtful to the people that perpetuated it to begin with. Same thing like in America, they're trying to erase they don't want slavery to be taught in school anymore because the truth is ugly. And they don't want young white kids growing up with this invisible burden that they think they're gonna have because their forefathers were slave owners. It's a that's a heavy conversation, and maybe we'll have that conversation next week. But yeah, it's 12:45 here. That's been an hour and 45 minutes. I'm gonna wrap up the show. This episode 3 of Let's Have That Conversation, was sponsored by Kunatori Token. Shout out to Kunatori Token for being the first sponsor of this Spacecast. We appreciate you. Panda is the KTO marketing executive. Project. I research. I'm going to say that about a lot of different projects. I'm not going to tell you to buy it. I'm going to tell you to research into it, and I'm sure you're going to see the same thing that I see. But yeah, Conditori Token is a centralized exchange, or they will be very soon once they get their utility up and running. They're on phase 3 right now of their roadmap. I'm not going to tell you what phase 3 is because I want you guys to look at the website yourselves. Go to kunatoritoken.com, do some basic research. After you do some basic research, some deep diving, and then in this project or not. But yeah, this was Let's Have That Conversation. I appreciate you, bro. And yeah, we'll see you guys next week.
See you guys next week. Thank you guys for coming on.